Have you ever heard the extraordinary claim that a corporation once bought an entire country? It's a story that has found fertile ground online, a viral whisper that suggests the West African nation of Nigeria was purchased by the consumer goods giant Unilever. This narrative taps into a deep and understandable unease about the immense power wielded by multinational corporations, a power that often seems to rival that of governments themselves. It paints a picture of a nation's origins rooted not in statecraft or conquest, but in a simple commercial transaction, a country placed in a shopping basket like a bar of soap. The story feels plausible because it speaks to the historical realities of colonial exploitation, where economic interests so often drove imperial expansion. But history, as is so often the case, is far more complex and layered than such a simple, dramatic tale allows. The idea of Unilever signing a check for the territory we now call Nigeria is a powerful myth, but it is a myth nonetheless. The real story begins not with Unilever, which did not yet exist in its modern form, but with a different entity, the Royal Niger Company. This was a chartered company, a peculiar and powerful instrument of British imperialism. Granted a royal charter by the British government in 1886, it was empowered to act almost as a state in its own right. The pivotal event that fuels the myth occurred in 1899. It was not a sale of Nigeria, but a sale to the British Crown. The British government paid the Royal Niger Company the sum of £865,000 to revoke its charter and transfer its administrative territories, so it could establish the Protectorate of Northern Nigeria, which it did on the 1st of January 1900. It was a transfer of power from a commercial entity to a sovereign state, a clear illustration of how intertwined business and empire truly were. Crucially, the Royal Niger Company did not simply vanish after this deal. It continued to exist as a purely commercial enterprise, but in 1899, the two entities had no relationship. Where does Unilever fit into all of this? It's a good question. The answer takes us on a different path, a story that only crosses into Nigeria much later. Unilever, as we know it, was born in 1929. It came from a huge merger. British soap maker Lever Brothers joined with Dutch margarine giant Margarine Unie. Two powerful companies, one new name. What did they sell? Everyday products, soap, margarine, and more. Their secret ingredient? Palm oil. Lots of it. Palm oil was the lifeblood of their business. Meanwhile, the old Royal Niger Company had changed its name. By 1929, it was simply the Niger Company. That year, it merged with its main rival, the African and Eastern Trade Corporation. Together, they formed a new powerhouse, the United Africa Company, or UAC. Unilever saw the opportunity. Controlling the palm oil supply chain was crucial. So, in the 1930s, Unilever moved fast. It took over the United Africa Company, gaining a strong foothold in West Africa. So here's the real link. Unilever never bought Nigeria. Instead, years after colonial rule began, Unilever bought the company that once held power there. It's a story of business, not empire. Today, Unilever's presence in Nigeria is a continuation of this long and complex history. Operating as Unilever Nigeria PLC, it's actually a publicly listed company on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, with Nigerian shareholders and a significant local workforce. Its factories in cities like Lagos and Aba produce many of the country's most iconic household brands, from Lipton tea and Knorr stock cubes to Omo detergents and Close-Up toothpaste. In recent years, Unilever Nigeria has faced significant headwinds, including high inflation, currency devaluation, and intense competition from cheaper imports. In 2023, the company announced it was ceasing production of its home care and skin cleansing lines, citing economic pressures. Furthermore, Unilever's global operations, especially its use of palm oil, continue to attract scrutiny. Environmental and human rights groups have frequently criticized the broader palm oil industry for its links to deforestation, habitat destruction, and labor exploitation. While Unilever has made public commitments to sourcing sustainable palm oil, the complexities of its vast global supply chain mean that ensuring full compliance is a persistent challenge. Let us be clear about the facts. In 1899, the British government paid the Royal Niger Company £865,000 to revoke its charter and transfer its administrative territories. This was a state formalizing its empire, not a corporation buying a country. Unilever, as a corporate entity, didn't even exist at this time. It was formed in 1929 and only became connected to Nigeria in the 1930s when it acquired the United Africa Company, the commercial successor to the Royal Niger Company. The truth exposes the very real and immense power that corporations held during the colonial era. The Royal Niger Company acted as a state, governing territory and people for profit, a fact that is perhaps even more startling than the myth itself. Ultimately, untangling this myth doesn't diminish the story. It actually enriches it. It replaces a simple fiction with a complex truth about the relationship between capital and empire. The legacy of this history continues to shape Unilever's role in Nigeria today, not as a ruler, but as a powerful economic actor in a sovereign nation still grappling with the echoes of its colonial past. History is complicated, and so is corporate accountability today.